Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel where we bring you stories that thrill and teach. Today we're diving into a jaw-dropping tale, the greedy captain's fatal mistake. Picture this, a captain so obsessed with wealth that he serves his loyal crew. But when the truth hits him, his regret is bigger than the ocean itself. What happened? Stick around until the end to find out. And hey, don't forget to subscribe, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss a thing. Drop a comment below. Have you ever seen greed completely ruin someone? Let's get started. This story takes us back to the 18th century, aboard a majestic ship called the Golden Tide. The captain, Victor Blackwood, was a man with eyes that sparkled only for gold. Having been born into poverty, Victor clawed his way to riches through years of relentless trade. His ship was loaded to the brim with grain, exotic spices, and shimmering gold for a long and arduous voyage from Asia all the way to Europe. But Victor's greed knew no bounds. His crew of 20 sailors worked tirelessly, loyal to their very core. Yet a dark thought was brewing in Victor's mind. If I cut their food rations, I can sell the extra grain for double the profit. On day one of this new policy, the crew received just half a loaf of bread and a single sip of water. They trusted their captain and didn't complain. On day two, he cut the rations even further, making the excuse, "We need to save for storms." By day three, the sailors' faces grew pale and gaunt. A young sailor named John, a man with a family waiting back home, decided to speak up. "Captain," he said respectfully, "we're hungry. We need strength to do our work." But Victor just snapped back, "Work or lose your pay." By day 5, the rations were just a crumb of bread. By day 7, there was nothing at all. The crew was starving, their strength fading with every passing hour. Meanwhile, Victor locked himself away in his lavish cabin, feasting on chocolates and fine wine, thinking to himself, "This is my wealth. They don't deserve it, but greed, my friends, is a fire that eventually burns everything in its path, including the one who started it." By day 10, one of the sailors collapsed from sheer exhaustion and hunger. The crew's simmering anger finally boiled over. "Captain, this is unfair," they cried out in desperation. In response, Victor pulled out his pistol, his voice cold as ice. "One more word, and you're shark food." The crew went silent, but in their eyes, a spark of rebellion was igniting. By day 15, the situation was completely out of control. The crew could barely stand, their legs shaking, their eyes sunken and hollow. All the while, Victor's cabin remained locked, a fortress hiding all the good food they had earned. That night, under a sliver of moonlight, the remaining crew members plotted their next move. John, who had become their unofficial leader, whispered, "We have to fight, or we will all die of hunger." As if on cue, the sky above them roared to life. A monstrous storm descended upon the Golden Tide. The waves were like mountains, towering 30 feet high, and the winds howled at 100 miles an hour. The ship rocked violently, threatening to break apart at any moment. The crew had to work, but their hunger had drained them of all energy. Ropes slipped through their weakened hands, and the ship's sails tore apart in the gale. Victor panicked, screamed from the quarterdeck, "Get to work, you lazy dogs." But this time the crew shouted back, their voices united, "Give us food first." Victor, blinded by his avarice, refused. Just then, a massive wave crashed over the deck, sweeping half the crew into the churning Black Sea. Their desperate screams echoed across the water as Victor scrambled not to save his men, but to secure his chests of gold. That was the last straw. The surviving sailors had had enough. "No more," they roared. They stormed Victor's cabin, their collective rage giving them a final burst of strength. They tied him up and broke open the storeroom door. Inside, they were stunned. Stacks of grain, crates of fruit, and barrels of salted meat filled the room. "This was ours," one sailor whispered, "earned by our sweat and blood." They finally ate, leaving Victor tied up and hungry, while the storm outside began to calm. The ship was barely afloat, but working together, the crew managed to save it. For the first time, Victor's eyes filled not with greed, but with pure, unadulterated fear. The battered ship eventually reached a small, deserted island. The crew could have easily taken their revenge on Victor, but instead, they chose a different path. They left him there alone. "Go, and change your ways," John said, his voice firm but not without a hint of pity. Alone on the island, Victor finally faced the same gnawing hunger he had so cruelly forced upon his crew. As the days and nights passed, a profound realization dawned on him. "My gold is worthless without loyal friends," he thought, tears streaming down his face. "What good is treasure if you have no one to share it with?" Days later, a passing ship rescued the humbled captain. Back home, Victor was a changed man. He gave every last piece of his gold to the families of the crew he had lost and the men he had wronged. He even built a new ship, a vessel where everyone shared equally in both the work and the rewards. He would often say, "Greed took everything from me, but it was regret that gave me a new life." The moral of this story is a powerful one. Greed blinds you to what truly matters, but the truth always has a way of catching up. It is in sharing, not hoarding, that we find true joy and wealth. So, what did you think of this story? It really makes you think, doesn't it? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. If you want more stories like this that make you feel and think, hit that like button, share it with your friends, and please subscribe and ring that bell icon for more weekly tailies. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay awesome.